From the Keith Vincent Studios in Paterson, New Jersey, Green Hour Media proudly presents Is This Real? Tonight, false flags. What are they? How are they being used? And now your host, JC3.
Who wants better sex? And who wants better sex starting now? The best way to get started is go to adamandeve.com.
Adam and Eve is offering 50% off just any item.
But that's not all. When you select your one item, you will also get 3 bonus items. That includes a gift for him, a special gift for her, and a gift you'll both like.
Plus 6 free movies for your viewing pleasure and free shipping.
There is discreet shipping as your privacy is priority. Plus 100% free shipping on your entire order.
Doesn't matter how much you spend or what you buy, it will all be packaged and sent discreetly for free.
Don't wait. Better sex is just one click away.
That's 50% off one item, 3 free gifts, 6 free movies, and free shipping.
Bring more pleasure and satisfaction to your bedroom.
Just go to adamandeve.com and select any one item. It could be an adventurous new toy or anything you desire.
Just enter code QUESTION at checkout.
That's question, QUESTION at adamandeve.com.
This exclusive offer is specific to this podcast only. So be sure at checkout you punch in the code QUESTION. That is QUESTION at checkout. And get your 50% off one item, 10 free gifts, and free shipping. Remember, use code QUESTION. Also remember to listen to Is This Real every Sunday at 8 o'clock with new episodes starting July 16th. Remember, everybody, question everything and put that question at the end of your checkout.
adamandeve.com.
Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of Is This Real?
Is this real?
Tonight's episode, as Big Joe said at the beginning, we are talking about false flag events and whether you, the people of America and all over the world, believe in them. So we're going to start off with this episode presented by adamandeve.com. Please go to adamandeve.com, use the code QUESTION, QUESTION, to get a lot of gifts.
Get like 50% off an item. There's free shipping. Get a couple of movies.
6 free movies.
6
Yes.
free movies.
6 free movies.
Let's see. There's a girl movie. There's gonna
Okay,
be a
that's
guy
enough out of
movie,
you.
one
That's
that-
Enough.
enough.
farm animals.
Enough.
Stop it.
Enough animals, dude.
Jesus Christ. That's all I ask. Is just stop yourself.
Gonzos and cream pie. All right.
Stop it. Anywho, stop looking at me.
That's your child.
That's your child.
That's your child, by the way.
And I'm
Anywho.
fucking proud to be his child.
All right, so for our false flags, Mr. West,
That's me.
you're the man of few words, but you have some reading assignment tonight, Mr. West.
I do.
Huh?
Oh, that's right. Sorry. In the booth
Oh, good
tonight,
question, yeah.
as you heard at the beginning, Big Joe. Big Joe, say hello.
Hello, and that's why I had a question. Who's in the booth? But go ahead.
We have the Pope himself, Pope.
I'm at the pub.
Mr. West. Mr. West is in the building.
Konbawa.
And I'm JC3, obviously. So again, yes, Mr. West, you had a little reading assignment to do.
I have reading to do.
So please, go. He's going to give us a definition of false flag. What is a false flag, Mr. West?
So, from the Britannica website of it,
Ooh.
because that's like one of the only things that I personally trust. Anyways,
Reciting.
that's my bias. Anyways, false flag, deceptive action. False flag, harmful, often militant event or action that is designed to appear as though perpetrated by someone other than the person or group responsible for it. False flag operations are often calculated to generate sympathy for the attacked group. The term is sometimes used to describe a deliberate misrepresentation of one's motions, although this sense is less frequent in complementary use.
I'm not the only one.
It doesn't matter.
Contemporary usage.
Contemporary. There we go. The earliest known uses of the term false flag referably figuratively to a friendly flag flown by any enemy ships in order to get within striking distance. So pirates.
I mean, and the British.
You lead them into a false sense of security, and then you fuck them up.
There you go.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's a very basic example, right?
Kaboom.
I mean, it's like, no, you got me, I surrender, and then, like, shank him in the shower.
Basically, what it comes down to in the Reader's Digest version, not sponsored by the way, but I believe a false flag would be something. In other words, I want something from you, but I need a way to get it. So I'm going to tell everybody you're bad, and you did this bad, and you did that bad. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take it because now I have them on. I have the people on my.
So,
makes me right.
I have a question.
Or hold on a second,
Okay.
there's a conflict. I need to get into this conflict for whatever reason.
Exactly. Wow.
I do have a question for that, and
That's
this
Oh my God, they attacked me.
this might be a little controversial, and it's on a smaller scale.
Okay.
The Jesse Smollett incident,
Absolutely.
is that a false flag?
Yeah, without a
What
doubt.
is that?
Yeah, because he perpetrated amongst himself to make himself look like a villain, to gain sympathy.
Well, no,
Sorry, to make himself look like a victim.
Jesse Smollett. If you don't know the story of Jesse Smollett, he
Actor.
accused he's an actor that played on Empire,
Mhm.
and he accused these two gentlemen wearing MAGA hats,
And he's gay, so that's a premise of it.
And then the two guys
jumped him in Chicago.
Yeah, they said anti.
Oh, I remember this
yeah.
blowing up on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it turns out that Jesse Smollett
paid the two guys to
was
do
behind it.
Yeah.
But it actually, in a way, it actually worked both ways because a lot of people felt sorry for him that he had to go and do that, and that garnered him a lot of sympathy, even though he was dead wrong and should have been in prison.
He is in prison.
You sure he's in prison? Because
Well, no,
I know
he
that
spent-
the prosecutor cut the liberal prosecutor in Chicago actually just like blew up and said, you know what, we're not going to. It's not worth it.
I
to go
believe,
after
if
him.
I'm correct, he spent
I
some time in
I
prison.
think he did because they were like, you know what? The lawyer for the police were like, you know what? No. This guy, there was police, there was court fees, all because this asshole wanted to make a stand. Fuck him.
Well, the ruling came after Cook County judge sentenced Smollett last week, and this is back in 2022, to immediately begin serving 150 days in jail for his conviction on 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct for lying to police.
Yeah, there you go.
But then they did the appeals court in a 2-1 decision said Smollett could be released after posting a personal reconnaissance bond. Reconnaissance bond. Yeah, see? We're on the same. Yeah, there we go, West. Of $150,000. So he was out of jail for $150,000. I mean, he didn't murder anybody, so it's like
No, but you
No,
think
but
of the
como
resources that
quiera,
go.
though, he just he literally staged a fake hate crime on
True.
Exactly.
No, I
you
agree.
You think of all the resources that go into it. You have
That's definitely
police who
gonna
have to
cause
do the
some
paperwork. You
controversy.
have detectives who go that
yeah,
next step
no,
forward.
it should cost him a pretty penny.
All of that shit. Those men didn't have to be doing that when they could have been focusing on other crimes that were happening. They were dealing with
In Chicago, you mean all the crimes that are
all of the
happening?
They're literally like they could have been doing anything else. Anything else? No, this asshole pulls this off.
I think he should have got if you perpetrate a hate crime, there's a serious.
Well, yes, because if you sit there okay, so
penalty.
I think there's a more serious penalty for a quote unquote hate crime
Well, he should have got that.
than a regular crime.
The hate was against him.
But that's the
Well,
thing. Like,
you
if
know,
you
same
fake,
resources are being
if
used.
you
I know,
fake
I
a hate
know.
crime, if you fake a hate crime, does that should give you the same amount of time?
Yes, because basically what you're doing is you're taking the resources, like Anthony said, that could been put to some other use, and because of your stupidity, you are now focusing the resources that are limited now on that should be. It's a hate crime. You made these two guys look at you and hate you. You know what?
Or at least
Guilty.
make it look
Yeah.
like a hate crime.
Well,
Right.
let's just put it like this. That was a more recent example of a false
But
flag.
a good one. I think we should give him a round of applause.
I mean,
Good
thank
job,
you. I
good
mean,
job.
that's why I said like, does a false flag
It's a
have?
false flag that was there for personal gain.
But that's my thing. Does a
not
false
for-
does a false
wasn't-
flag
it
does
wasn't-
not mean or
deceiving something to get what you want.
no matter
Very
what the
simple.
size of the crime or whatever it is.
I agree.
All right.
It was on a personal level.
So-
yeah.
I do have a list here, and bear with me. It is Wikipedia, but whatever. Not
Excited.
sponsored. Of just quote unquote false flag events. which is a real thing. Real false flags are a real thing.
Okay, but do me a favor when you're reading this and you're going to give us the false flag event.
And a false flag is sometimes harmful. It's mostly militant. So
Yeah, please
Keep it in context.
Tell us what it gained, what the people that were perpetrating.
Well,
it
I mean,
gained.
I would have. There's 200 things
Yeah,
here.
there's-
Oh no, no, all right. So the
So
ones
I'm
you do
just
give
gonna
us,
I'm just gonna sit there and I'm gonna read them off. Just pop, pop,
Yeah,
pop,
just
pop,
give
pop.
us examples
you're
of
gonna
what
give us
happened.
200 of them. Okay.
No,
I
just
mean-
give us a few of them, not all
Yeah, I
of them.
don't-
All right, so I'll take one from each letter. Okay. So this one, the 1999 Russian apartment bombings, from A, and they go by categorized letters of events. The Abu Ali Express. In B, the Black Sea Raid. C, 1988 Keynes and Nice attacks, or Nice attacks. I'm guessing it would be Nice. D, Alice Doman. F, Front the Liberation of Lebanon from Foreigners. G, the Gleiwitz Incident. H, Operation Himmler. Whoa.
whoa.
Go into that.
Operation Himmler, like I'm him.
No. Himmler
No.
was one of
Hank Himmler?
No, Himmler was one of Adolf's
Yeah.
big guys.
Oh,
If I'm not
shit, never mind,
mistaken-
I take that back.
If I'm not mistaken, Himmler was number 2 under Adolf, and when Adolf pulled blew his brains out or whatever the fuck he did in that bunker, supposedly ate the cyanide pill,
Yeah.
whatever. Himmler was the one who was I think at that point would be the de facto Führer, but I don't know if that's. I don't know if Himmler was alive at that point or not. I would have to research it.
I, Irish Republican Liberation Army. K,
The IRA.
the IRA, yes. K, the 2008 Kerchka incident. L, Operation Labrador. M, the shelling of Manila. K, the NKVD. I'm sorry, N, the NKVD special groups. O, Operation Gladio. Operation Northwoods is on here also. Did we talk about Operation Northwoods before?
We've touched on it, yeah. But in the grand scheme of false flags, you have to bring that up. You have to.
So we'll talk about Northwoods in a little bit. P, Panda Bar Massacre. That just sounds bad,
Sounds like there was a bunch of pandas involved.
right? R, Radio. Nope, sorry.
Nothing
The
sadder than a
Reichstag
bunch of
fire.
al-
That's another one you have
Nothing
to talk
sadder
about.
than a bunch of alcoholic pandas.
Yeah. So the Reichstag fire. That's a big one.
That's a very large one.
Yes. S, the SS Springford or Springyard. I don't know. T. Whoa, hold on. The swastika epidemic of 1959 to 1960.
Huh?
It was an epidemic.
It was an epidemic,
Where?
apparently. Let's go. Where is it?
Where was Fauci when you needed him?
The swastika epidemic of 1959-1960 was a wave of anti-Jewish incidents which happened at the end of 1959 to 1960 all around the world. In West Germany, only 833 separate anti-Jewish acts were recorded between December 25th, 1959 and mid-February 1960.
You mean to
By
tell me
the
that in
authorities.
Germany, after they lost the war, they were bitter towards the Jews? I can't believe that would be a thing.
Oh, no. T, the tactical... Oh, whoa, no, hold on. Timeline of the Troubles in the Republic of Ireland. Ireland's all fucked up, huh?
No
Ireland's
judgment.
been fighting itself since the fucking Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Now I do have an interesting theory about Irish.
Please
Okay.
talk into the mic. We can't hear
No,
you.
no. This is something that can't be talked about. No,
Okay.
All right, we'll talk about it
Let's
off
say-
air.
We'll talk about this off. air.
V, the bombing of the Vatican.
Whoa.
I'll bring that one up too.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
And Z.
I would have remembered something about that.
Shut the fuck up. And Z, Zeligowski's mutiny.
The like house.
I don't know who that is. But yeah, so
Who's
there's,
bombing my
and
home?
that's I said what 26 of them because I did 27 if you include numbers each letter of the alphabet.
Mhm.
There's about 5 to 6, maybe more in each category.
Each letter.
Listen, false flags are a real thing. This isn't conspiracy theory we're talking about. Now, we might
There-
dip into conspiracy theory when we say, like, who was behind it, like, who was the person who
Yes,
set this up.
but there's also
But false flags are an actual
you're
thing.
right, and but there's also quote unquote false flag events that people turn around and say that are false flags that we don't know of.
Wasn't the start of World War One based on a false flag?
No.
Did like some prince got shot or something? But
That
like,
was Archduke Ferdinand. He was shot and killed in the motorcade.
But that was real. That wasn't a false
That
flag.
wasn't a false flag. He was legit, like,
But
ganked.
wasn't it his own people that pretty much killed him
I don't think so.
to initiate that war?
I don't think
Joey
so.
brings up a good point as far as, you got some false flags that are being blamed as false flags, but there's no evidence. I mean,
Well,
and
let's just
we
put it like
go-
this. Yeah.
We just have to go back to last week's episode. Alex Jones being in all that trouble
Well, yeah.
because he's claiming that was a false flag to stop the guns or whatever.
Let me read this little
And-
short passage, and then we'll talk about it. They go, the actual false flags plot in history appear to have been outpaced in recent years by dubious conspiracy theories that label real events as false flags, that in turn were allegedly used to justify the expansion of government powers. The line of thinking took off after the 9/11 attacks, spawned a new war overseas, and scaled up surveillance state.
Is 9/11 classified as a false flag?
Well, if you're going to classify 9/11 as a false flag,
That's a good question.
It's obviously not.
you're going to have to. Well, hold on a minute. You don't know that. Again,
I would think it depends on what the accepted real story
exactly.
is.
Now, look, anybody that looks into 9/11, you're going to have questions. I'm sorry, because there's
A lot of unanswered
there's
questions.
the 9/11 story and the official story,
Commission
just like the official story on
Kennedy.
who shot Kennedy, and we found that out later. That's total bullshit. Now,
Kennedy wasn't. I wouldn't classify it as a false flag event.
no, I wouldn't either.
No, it was assassination.
But what I'm saying is that, again, anything when the government's involved in it, you got to question it. Now, that's a side note. Something like this, it looks to have the markers of a false flag event when the shit that they say they claim to be proven is not proven. None of it is proven on either side. You can't prove the buildings came down the way they said they did, nor can you can't prove that there was bombs in the building.
That's right.
Okay, so you can't. Now, does it have the markers of it? Yes, it does, because what happened immediately, right after that at like midnight 2 weeks later, we wound up getting the Patriot Act where nobody read it. It was rushed through Congress, it was rushed through the Senate, and it became law, and everybody's like, well, what is this?
Right.
So, again, an
And
event...
we went right to war.
Right now, and in that also you had, I forgot the name, the number of the document, but it gave George Bush at the time sweeping powers to take over radio, TV, all kinds of media in an event of his choosing.
The sad part not sad. The funny part about this is, yes, we talked about Alex Jones last week, and it's hard not to talk about Alex Jones this week also with this topic. The reason is because this article that I have in front of me brings him right up to the forefront of it.
Mm-hmm.
They go,
Which I will say, when Alex Jones was, in my opinion, cruising at a good altitude before he turned to really went botso, and he was more like just like that fringe guy who he said some weird shit occasionally, but on the whole is he's got you thinking what, that is interesting. Right, when he was like that, there were times where he would mention shit like false flag events, and I would be like, that is something I need to look into.
all right, West.
What you're talking about was called the President's Surveillance Program.
Okay.
Is a collection of secret intelligence activities authorized by President of the United States George W. Bush after the September 11 attacks, 2001, as part of the war on terrorism.
Okay.
We have to get this man a computer when he's in the booth.
That's true. The thing with intelligence and Bush in the same sentence is an oxymoron.
All right. So here is this. Okay, so growing distrust in government combined with the revelation that the Bush administration had been deceptive about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq helped produce a 9/11 truth movement.
Which they were.
Supporters of this movement offered a number of alternative explanations for the day's events, despite the fact that their theories were repeatedly debunked. Which is not true.
That's not true. It's not debunked, because no one has been successfully able to explain Building 7 in New York City.
Exactly.
Not the way it makes sense.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about scientifically, it doesn't add up scientifically.
I could accept to a degree steel weakens, and that's what that would have helped the buildings come down. Not the way they came down floor by floor at full speed. That doesn't make sense to me. But I can understand that something burning hot enough to weaken it and the structural integrity is now fucked, and eventually it gives way. But it would have not given way the way it did.
You're
It
right,
kind
and
of
you're just a
wouldn't
little bit.
Wouldn't it have lopsided at that point?
No, what happened here is
If the
structural steel.
If the steel beams were to
Well,
have
it
melted.
would have never. First of all,
It never would have collapsed.
It collapsed in like less than 3 seconds.
In a pancake
or 8
format.
seconds.
8 seconds.
Okay. If in fact their theory that they tell you is correct, that it weakened it and everything else, that's all fine. But it would have taken about 10 minutes to fall down because you'd had the resistance of the floors below, because the floors below weren't hit.
That's right.
So you would have had boom, boom, boom. It didn't. It came down in a free fall. My opinion is always going to be that the buildings were taken down. And if you just do your research and do your homework, you know what? I mean, you may disagree. That's fine.
In 100 years from now, say something gets declassified, we find out that it was an attack.
Mm-hmm.
It was not an attack as we know it to be, but rather a way to get us in. Then
We're
it
all
would
gonna
be
be dead.
reclassified. No, I know that, but I'm saying by then it would be reclassified as a false flag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you would have to have someone step up and say, we did it. And that's the thing. No one's going to take blame for this now.
Once they put the official theory on it,
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna finish this, and then we're gonna
Yes.
take a break, and then we're gonna come back. All right. So, the central idea surrounding many of the theories claiming the U.S. government made or let the attack happen was that 9/11 was a false flag, and that the resulting shock was the pretext for the government to invade Iraq, spy on Americans, and stomp on civil liberties. One proponent of the 9/11 conspiracy theories was InfoWars founder Alex Jones, who helped direct an infamous documentary that pushed the bogus counter-narrative. Years later, Jones used his InfoWars platform to push another false flag conspiracy theory. Jones.
This is coming from where? Wikipedia?
No, this is a page called Pointner. It's fact-checking.
Right. I always believe the fact checkers. Who's fact checking them?
So they turn around.
Can you hate Alex for a lot of shit? But I'm telling you right now.
Well, he's
Alex
not saying.
Jones is
Hold on,
not
they're not
stupid.
saying anything disparaging as Alex Jones. He's saying like
When they say
because of
Well, they said bogus counter.
bogus, who are they to say bogus?
bogus narrative
It's their
of
opinion.
what?
9/11.
Well, you know what? If they're going to say bogus, then you know what? Then step up and prove that it's bogus.
Well, let me
Well, they
let me
just said they couldn't prove it either way.
let me
Well, then
finish.
it's bogus.
Jones alleged that the Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut, in which 20 children and 6 adults died, was fake to push gun control, and that the victims' families were crisis actors. Crisis actors are actors perpetually trained to portray victims during disasters and other emergencies.
See season 4.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Did we do Crisis Actors season 4?
It would have had to.
Yeah, I think it was season 4.
Season 4, I think, was Crisis Actors.
Yeah.
It was
And
somewhere.
I know
we also did
season-
Sandy
somewhere.
Hook in season
Could've
4.
It's
been
somewhere in the
season 6.
archives.
Could have been season. I know season 7 was about space, and 8 was about.
Yeah, it could have been season 6 also.
Oh, look it up. We're on Spotify. You
Yeah.
guys.
Jones.
It's somewhere in the archives.
See, just listen. Jones.
We'll put it on the box set when it comes out.
Jones has been banned by several technology companies for promoting those and other conspiracy theories, and he has lost his defamation lawsuits brought by the Sandy Hook victims, the families of the victims. But social media users have been spread similarly bogus false flag and crisis actors claims following other shootings, such as those in Parkland, Florida, Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas.
Yeah, the thing with we've talked about crisis actors, and I don't want to dwell too long on it, but one of those things about crisis actors is, and this goes with any conspiracy theory that is involves an event that has a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people involved, and how do you keep that many people quiet?
Very simple. You don't know how many people were involved, and you don't know how many people were taken out.
No, I understand that, but
Just
if
like
you're-
9/11,
No,
if
no,
you-
I know, but like if you have crisis actors, you're
Well-
like, look, this woman, we're gonna call her Annie. Annie was at that. She was at that. She was at that. It's like, who
You
the fuck
need-
is keeping?
you
Can we
need-
get something on her?
Well-
She got to exist somewhere. She have a Facebook.
You would need a lot.
Well,
to,
I mean, technically, I mean,
push that theory.
You know what I mean? It's the exact
Put it like
reason
this,
why
she doesn't have to have a Facebook though. Think about it though.
She's got to have some sort of fingerprint.
Well, I have a
somewhere.
question. How do you know? Because especially with these type of events, these people, these crisis actors, if they're not, coming out just saying that, yeah, I'm a crisis actor.
I mean, I believe we were even
Hold
on website that they were actually hired. In fact, I think you were the one.
Yes, there was a
Yeah.
website where we're talking.
My
about,
whole
yeah,
thing with that
which
is
now defunct.
yeah, if you're gonna sit there and be a crisis actor, then especially for these events, I don't know about any other events. Again, it could be a real, it is a real thing that could be happening with other people wanting to do it. But as far as the government side of things, wouldn't these people be just like black ops? You don't know the person that the
Yeah,
person
but
that
think
is.
about the amount of people you need. You're gonna tell me there's that many people involved in black? It's like the fucking John
Well, it
Wick
depends-
movies. Everyone's a fucking
well,
hitman.
just think about it. It depends on what the event is.
All right, I got a little food for thought for
Hold
you
on,
guys.
it's the same reason why I don't believe they switched around shit with the shit from the Titanic and the Olympic, because you had a bunch of Irish guys switching those boat around.
Well, no,
There's
but
no
that's,
way they're gonna keep
like
their
I
mouth
said,
shut.
it depends on the event. 9/11, you don't need crisis actors.
No, you don't. But
People
you do need guys.
died.
You do. You're right. But you would need people to set those bombs up. You would need people to.
But there's there's a lot of evidence that said there was false fire alarms going on weeks before.
I know.
People coming in who people didn't know.
I know.
What is this for? 9/11?
9/11.
Yeah, 9/11.
Well, it was shut down for 2 weeks because
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
maintenance. Never ever done before in the history of the buildings.
Yeah.
So again, I was going to say something, but I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I mean, you could sit there and say there's a lot of people, but remember, and this is something you told me this, Dad, but I don't know who you learned it from. But the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it.
Absolutely.
Right, and the bigger the lie, the more people has to be involved to keep the lie up.
Well, here's my train. Thank you, Anthony. The train of thought that I got, and I'm going to just chew on this for a little while now.
Well, we're gonna take a break after your statement.
Okay, everybody. You know what? Then I'll save it for after the break because it's a little lengthy.
Bro, you're.
All right. Okay, fine.
Just go.
We all believed that the Obama administration took out bin Laden, right? We were told that bin Laden, they had pictures of them sitting in the White House going, oh my God, oh my, they're watching a live event.
Yeah, we saw that, but
Now, when I say to you, people that are involved in black ops somehow go disappearing, you had, I think there was 8 SEALs that were involved in this. There's one that's remaining.
Mm-hmm.
And he put out a We Got Obama movie.
And he
wrote
was
a
on
book.
60 Minutes. I remember that.
He made the
Osama.
rounds. So,
Obama.
in other
Yeah,
words,
Osama.
what
They didn't get Obama.
okay, right. What I'm saying is, if you play along, and you push the narrative that they're telling you to push, why are so many dead and one is alive and
you're
he's the one
assuming
there?
that that operation happened the way it happened. None of them are dead. There's no guys. Though you can sit there and say those names.
That's my point.
Right. Those names were made up, and we have one guy who made a movie. That's his assignment. It's one guy. It's easy for one guy to keep a secret.
Right. That's my point.
Because you make this movie, use the last survivor, and then no one's going to say it because it's disparaging and it's un-American because we got that prick.
Right.
You don't need anyone else.
But
I mean,
my case to you is if you're telling how you can keep it quiet. It's very simple. You just got to take out 2 people. When you're dealing with the government and you're dealing with the power that they have,
Yeah, I mean, perfect.
you will go disappearing if you don't follow along.
Perfect example to that.
Yeah, I
and-
get that.
and we're gonna go to break right now. Perfect example is the JFK assassination.
Oh, without a doubt.
How many witnesses, quote
I can
unquote,
give. You want to go to
were-
go to break? We'll come
were
back.
found dead in car accidents or overdoses that were supposed to be
yeah,
witnesses?
And the guy that was actually later on brought up that he was actually the one who had fingerprints in the Texas School Book Depository. One latent print was on a box in the sniper's nest. He got killed on a lonely stretch of Texas highway where no one was around.
You know what it reminds me of, real quick?
Which one was the one that had the shotgun blown out of his? Like he blew himself with a shotgun, quote unquote.
Oh no, that was Lyndon Johnson. His Secretary of Agriculture had some dirt on him, and it was going to be exposed in the '64. See, I got news. If Kennedy would have lived, you would have seen Johnson in jail because he had a lot of stuff against him, and somehow it all got wiped away on November 22nd, 1963.
What I was going to say, you know what it reminds me of, the way we're talking right now? It's that montage in Goodfellas where all the guys who were part of Lufthansa died.
Yeah,
Everyone everyone knew who did it,
Exactly.
but there was no proof. One guy's in a meat trailer, the other guy's got ice
That's
pick in the back
perfect.
of the head.
That's
That's
perfect.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
All right,
perfect.
so we're gonna take a short little break here. Just a word from our sponsors. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, we're just letting you know that we have new merch in our store. Go to Green Hour Media's store greenarrowmedia.myspreadshop.com, greenarrowmedia.org, or the link in the bio for our first ever logo drop. The Cryptid Collection is here. Get your favorite cryptids such as Bigfoot, Mothman, Nessie, the Yeti, or the Jersey Devil on t-shirts, hats, or mugs. You can also get all of our podcast logos on various items as well. Remember, that's greenarrowmediastore.myspreadshop.com, greenarrowmedia.org, or the link in the bio. New episodes of Is This Real drop Sundays at 8. Question everything.
Hello, this is JC3 speaking. If you want to know more about Is This Real podcast and our parent company Green Arrow Media, then visit greenarrowmedia.org. You can find and follow all of our social media pages through our website. If you love our content, then you can support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel and our Patreon page. Remember, that is greenarrowmedia.org. And welcome back.
Hello.
As we continue our great discussion tonight about false flag events. Good
Right.
job
Hope you
tonight.
used some offer codes. Got yourself some fun toys to play with.
Yeah.
Got you. Hopefully you got some therapy under your belt.
We didn't talk about our therapy one, Anthony. Would you like to say something about our
I would
therapy
love
one?
to say, listen, guys, there's nothing wrong with talking to somebody. And the best way to do that is to head on over to betterhelp.com/question and sign up. And if you need to get some weight off your shoulders, these are the people that are going to help you do that. They will outfit you with your own specialist that's catering to your needs for what you're dealing with in your life. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody seeking counseling or therapy. Definitely check it out. And then when you use our website, betterhelp.com/question, you're going to get something back too. I think it's what was it, 10% off the first month?
I think so. I don't know.
I think
didn't
it's 10% off the first month.
Maybe we should know before you.
We should know before. Listen, the link is live. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
You're going to save some money using that website when you sign up using betterhelp.com.
You're the therapy guy. I
/question.
thought you had this handled, my guy.
Well, I mean, I know what it's about, and it's definitely helpful. I've been in therapy all my life. It works
Don't
wonders.
tell him that.
It works wonders. It works wonders.
There goes that sponsor.
betterhelp.com/question.
I mean,
QU
that's true. You shouldn't say that.
ESTIOS.
It has
He's
not
been in
helped at
therapy
all.
his whole life, and he thinks he's the Pope. So, you know what I mean? What is it? Come on now.
Some of the popes, they needed therapy so they can do the better job for the people.
See season 4.
All right. So, as our discussion about false flags continue, we have two major ones, gentlemen. And I'm not going to say ladies. Well, we don't usually have a lady in this booth anyway, except for Anthony. But we're going to sit here and talk about Operation Northwoods and the Reichstag fire, which are confirmed, not like, oh, they're conspiracy theories that they were false flag events.
No, we know that these
No,
were for
these are classified false flag events. So, Dad, do you want to handle the Operation Northwoods?
Well, I will do Northwoods, but let's do Reichstag first, Anthony. That's the one you and I have been.
And not in a German accent, you prick.
No. This is serious stuff. People
This is
died
serious.
here. People died. A war was created because of this.
No, I know you. Yeah, a second Great World War. But I know him. Even with serious stuff, he'll sit there. And I know. No, don't do that.
I'll give you a little brief synopsis. On February 27, 1933, the German Parliament Reichstag building burned down. The Nazi leadership and its coalition partners used the fire to claim that the communists were planning a violent uprising. They claimed that emergency legislation was needed to prevent this. Boy, this is perfect. The resulting act, commonly known as the Reichstag Fire Decree, abolished a number of constitutional protections and paved the way for Nazi dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how they did that? They dressed a Polish person or not whatever in a they dressed somebody in a Nazi uniform, in a Polish uniform.
You're about to say now the Nazis went in. They dressed them in
and
a.
they blamed it. Basically, they blamed a Polish soldier
Poland, yeah.
for starting this, and this is classic.
Poland turned around and said, "We didn't start the fire," and the Nazis went, "Fuck you, you did."
See what I mean?
and that's what led in. That's one of the major events that led into World War II.
The second one was a radio station. Was it the same one?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that was a false flag, but I know what I have here is they turned around and said that 4 weeks prior to this event, Hitler was sworn in as Chancellor
Chancellor
of Germany,
wasn't president; he was Chancellor.
which
And remember,
scares me.
no, it shouldn't scare you because this was before. Remember, this was before the atrocities of World War II had started in full.
Mhm.
He might have been thinking, on his back porch, thinking of one day opening several camps to exterminate a group of people, but that didn't happen yet. This was before all of that. This is back when Hitler had some ideas, and he saw the nature of Germany at the time, and he said, "I need to run for office and do something about this." And that's what happened.
Yeah.
He was voted in democratically.
Yeah, he turned around. He used it as a pretext to claim the communists were plotting against German government, and induced President Paul von Hindenburg
Yes.
to issue the Reichstag fire decree suspending civil liberties and pursue a ruthless confrontation with the communists.
Hitler was not right for anything he's ever done. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't crafty in order to get things
Yeah,
done.
and he goes, this made the fire pivotal in the establishment of Nazi Germany.
And what happened?
The first report of the fire came shortly after 9 p.m. when a Berlin fire station received an alarm call. By the time police and firefighters arrived, the Chamber of Deputies, the lower house, was engulfed in flames. The police conducted a thorough search inside the building and found Vanderloob who was arrested. So they found a guy in there that was apparently arrested. Yes, Mr. West.
So that incident started Nazi dictatorship, but this incident is exactly what started World War II.
Right. That's
No,
more
there's-
accurate.
There's an incident, the Gleiwitz incident. It's I don't know if you guys know about this. I'm just finding out about it right now as well. So, the brief summary of this is that in the days prior to the German invasion of Poland, the Nazis pretty much they initiated a campaign where there is this town called Gleiwitz, which was back then a German border town, right on the border between Germany and Poland.
Mm-hmm.
And on
Gleiwitz.
And in the 31st of August, no, that's not it.
No, you're right. It was a false flag
It
on
was
the radio station that
so
happened on the night of August 31st.
the 31st of August, a 7-man SS team stormed the transmitter station because there was a radio station that was like great for propaganda,
Mm-hmm.
and they pretty much took it. They pushed past German staff, seized the microphone, and announced in Poland, "Attention, this is Gleiwitz. The broadcasting station is in Polish hands." And then the day before, the SS team had arrested a 43-year-old unmarried German farmer named Franzrich Hoinker? Hoinuk. And to complete the deception, the SS officers dressed him in a Polish uniform, murdered him, and left his body at the entrance of the transmitter station.
Holy shit!
Yep.
And then within hours, German radio stations were reporting the incident in Gleiwitz, that the station had been hijacked by Polish soldiers. What they said it left in the body. They left the body on the steps. The following day, September 1st, German forces invade Poland.
And that's
So that
War.
was the start of World War II.
that was one of the precipices.
Yeah.
And what's wild is that in my history books, when I was learning about the start of World War II, this and that fire never came
I remember
up.
being taught about
Never
the
came-
Reichstag. I remember being taught about the Reichstag.
Yeah, I remember being talking about the Reichstag
but
also.
but this instance,
I'll be honest.
what
Well,
started
I probably
World
blanked
War
out
One.
for that one.
Oh, sorry.
They probably did teach it, but this
that one, no.
That I agree with.
But this specific radio incident, I'd never heard of
See,
this up until I researched.
I mean,
it.
they
It's
turn
because
around
they
and they
look at the Reichstag as the start
Yeah.
because that's the first time Hitler used the false flag to do exactly what he wanted.
and what they tell you then also is that what started World War II is the invasion of Poland.
right? But I
That's
didn't
what they
know-
say
but I didn't know
started. They
what-
didn't
but I
know what
didn't
the
know what
prelude.
triggered
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
right, right.
Invasion of Poland.
It was
which
like
was
the
this.
Reichstag happened. Hitler gets into more power. He declares war on Poland, and then they start going into Poland. It's like no. He needed a couple more things to happen, and this is the radio stations and exactly that.
Well, let me revert back to the Reichstag thing. It was after the fire decree was issued, the Nazi-controlled police made mass arrests of communists, including all of the communist Reichstag delegates. The severely crippled communist participation in the March 5th elections. After the March 5th elections, the absence of communists gave the Nazi Party majority in the Reichstag, greatly assisting the Nazi seizure of total power. On March 9th, 1933, the Prussian state police arrested Bulgarians Georgy Dimitrov, Vasil Tanev, and Biagayev Popov, who were known Comintern operatives, though through the police did not know Dimitrin was the head of the all Comintern operations in Western Europe. Ernst Togler, head of the Communist Party, had surrendered to the police on February 28th. Vanderloob and the 4 communists were the defendants in a trial that started in September 1933. It ended in the acquittal of the 4 communists and the conviction of Vanderloob, who was executed. The responsibility of the Reichstag fire remains a topic of debate and research. Some historians believe, based on archive evidence, that the arson had been planned and ordered by the Nazis as a false flag operation. The building remained in its damaged state until it was partially repaired in 1961 to 64, and completely restored from 1995 to 99. In 2008, Germany posthumously pardoned Vanderloob under a law introduced in 98 to lift unjust verdicts dating from the Nazi era.
Gee. You mean this power that decided to just do whatever the fuck they wanted to create monsters so they can assume more power? We're finally apologizing for that almost 50 years after the fact.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, when you turn around, like that's why I said, when you say, 60 years, 70 years, if they turn around and say,
More than that 100, everyone's going to be dead.
Yeah, the 9/11 was a false flag event. The people who were involved at that time will be dead.
It's one of those things where everyone, there will not be a soul on this planet. If that ever should come out, there will not be a soul on this planet that was alive on that morning. Everyone will be dead across the planet before that information is ever released.
Well, that's
if it exists.
The one thing, and again,
and if they release it,
you can try, not really. I mean, depending on how you look at it. Because I don't think there was ever a suspension of civil liberties in the U.S.
Patriot Act.
Is that a suspension of civil liberties?
It's not suspension.
It's a complete change.
But it's a major policy change that gave people in power more freedom to do things that they weren't able to do before. Right. And you could say that was an impediment on our personal liberties. And I don't want you to know this information about me. Well, fuck you. You might be a terrorist. We got to know.
Well, let's look like this.
Under the flag of fear, and then you add an attack, the government has power then to do whatever the fuck they want.
Right. What it did do in the long run, just it gave the country, gave the powers that be something to blame anything they wanted on that. You couldn't get this, for the first 10 years of 9/11, it was the lead story every night. And it gave them sweeping powers to do what they wanted. Look what they do with the TSA now. It reminds me of George Carlin. You go to the airport, it makes no fucking sense what they're doing to you because, the terrorists are leaving their bombs at home now. They know they're going to go, to get searched. Why take a bomb with you?
Well, that's why you sit there and you see more car bombs. You see more bus bombs.
I don't want to hear that shit.
Maybe I don't know. I can't. I don't know the
who's fingering you on by the security on a bus?
How many other than the Boston bombing, which we discussed last week?
To answer your question, bums.
How many?
Well, the bums aren't working for the U.S. government, so you can't blame the Patriot Act for that.
Don't know that.
Other than the obvious Boston bombing from last week, the
2 weeks
incident,
ago.
2 weeks, whatever happened didn't happen down Seaside with the bomb that was found in the trash can.
Well, I mean, okay, so
how often do we get a bus exploded or
not here?
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that happen over the Middle East.
No, well, the Middle East is
doing that
also
forever.
Yeah. But there's also a lot more.
It's also happened in
and
the UK as well.
I got to give props to whatever police department or whoever's finding him. There's a lot of reports of, oh, this car does have a bomb in it. The one in New York City, remember it shut down Times Square? It was in a truck, I believe it was. What about the one in Nashville? I think that was 2 years ago. That car did blow up. Didn't hurt anybody.
Some good did come out of it because it heightened the alert of.
Was that Nashville?
I don't know which one you're talking about, but
Search it up, Wes.
It literally heightened
Nashville
the alert
car bomb
of the
and everybody around it.
But it also took it to another level where everything was a crime. You were considered a criminal first. And I'll give you an example. Well, I went to the Statue of Liberty about a year and a half after this happened.
It happened on Christmas.
All right, maybe.
Do you don't remember in 2020? Sorry, the 2020.
I vaguely remember that.
I vaguely remember.
Here's the thing: when something's prevented, it's easy to forget because nothing bad happened. You know what I mean?
The car did blow up.
No one was hurt though.
I don't think there was a lot of hurts.
Okay, so
it injured a couple people.
So on December 25th, 2020, Anthony Quinn Warner detonated a RV bomb in downtown Nashville, killing himself.
Okay, I remember.
Killing himself, injuring 8, and damaging dozens of buildings in the surrounding area.
Merry Christmas.
I do that. I remember that.
You're an asshole.
But my point is, I mean, stuff goes. It just gets crazy. I mean, I went to the Statue of Liberty, and when we got on the island, we were basically. I actually weren't even on the island. We got on just before we got on the boat to take us to the island. You had to get butt fucked. I mean,
let's put it like this.
Searched. I mean, it was ridiculous.
You want to go into her dress? I got to go into your pants.
I mean, it's insanity. What am I going to do? Am I going to take a sandwich?
Hold on, wait.
It's the same thing. You can't go on like a plane now with like a bottle of water or some shit.
What am
I going to do with this?
Hold on. Let's also take into account, especially at that time, you had a lot of threats to national monuments. As far as we're going to blow this one's next. Like when you go to the Statue of Liberty. That is a national monument.
In a heightened
and you have thousands of people a day that go through.
Maybe it was a poor choice of fucking picking. But
and I'll be honest, do you remember at one point that I don't know if this was because of national security, but they stopped people from going into the Crown?
Oh, they did that because of structural problems.
Yeah.
Oh, it had nothing to do with national security.
And the arm too. And like you can't go all the way up to the torch anymore.
Okay, no, I wouldn't want to do that to begin with because I probably shit my pants. But
I've been in that building, and let me tell you something. It's a great symbol of freedom. If somebody told me again,
how many French people are dead inside?
No. If somebody said to me, let's go in again, and we'll go do the journey to the top, I would look at him and go, "You're out of your mind." First of all, you're walking around
the Trojan horse.
You're walking around a spiral staircase.
I hate those. That
was literally wide open to the rest of the building. If you leaned over the wrong way, you were toast.
And
then when you get to the top, we all thought when you get to the top, there'll be a little snack bar. You look out the window of the Crown. You get up, you walk across the Crown, and you walk right down the other staircase on the other side. That's all it is. My mother was in the torch. They allowed you to get to the top of the torch, but over time, before they fixed it, the torch became weak. The arm became weak, and they couldn't do it anymore.
It's only made out of copper.
Well, that's why. I mean, you're looking at something that's was at that point 80 years old, so
rusted away too with all that with thousands of people walking on it.
Millions,
and you're in the New York Harbor, which is salt water, so. That takes its toll.
And then so it's closed off. You can't get to the torch anymore, though. That's not the original torch. That torch, the original torch, is now in a museum just off site. Or no, it's on Liberty Island.
Yeah, they also have a twin one in France.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking
it's
about.
Is it as big?
No, I'm talking about the torch itself.
Yeah.
The original torch, I think, is located in a museum on Liberty Island, and now that one is like a copper or gold replica.
It's a wonderful place. I love. I want to go back, but to me, I just thought it was way too much. It was over
Let's
the top.
just put it like
that
this. Let's getting back to the Reichstag. If the Reichstag doesn't happen, Hitler doesn't take control.
You can't say that. He might have found a way to do it. It could take control a different way, or it would have taken longer.
Okay, the Reichstag doesn't happen. This is one of the preludes that happens to Hitler taking control.
What would he have done? That's
it would have sped up the process. It certainly sped up the process.
He was a sick bastard.
Well, that's the thing, though. Is this? I hate saying it like this because it sounds fucked up.
You're playing the what if game.
Yeah, like, is this one of the things that is probably the least of what you think Hitler could have done to gain control?
Oh, when you like line up all the sins of Adolf Hitler, the Reichstag's not near the top as far as the worst thing he ever did.
Yeah.
But at the same
Prelude
time,
to it, definitely.
it's one of the things that you sit there and go, had he not been able to do this, or had this failed, history would have been different. I don't.
You
think
don't know.
You don't know
we
for
wouldn't
sure.
be having this conversation.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
you don't know. You don't know if it could have been worse.
Anybody that
we
takes,
go in Dragon Ball Z timelines
anybody
right now?
that puts tattoos on people and puts them in a train off to a death camp
Yeah,
and kills them by the thousands and buries them in fucking pits.
thousands.
Okay,
Up that
thousands
number.
and thousands and 6 million of them. Okay, you don't know what he's capable of doing. And you know what's sick about that? You didn't know what was capable he was doing, but Goebbels, Goering,
Yep.
Yeah.
these
My
were
question-
sick bastards.
My question
Himmler.
for you is, and again, this is one of the, I hate thinking like this, but this is where my mind wanders. Do you, because of his atrocities, and he signed the orders to do this, if he was put on trial, do you hit him with murder?
Murder. They would have killed him instantly.
You-
No. I'm saying,
was
like,
never
I'm saying,
making trial.
do you put him on trial for murder?
Yeah, they
You
would have.
would
But
not-
Because
would be
isn't it the
genocide.
same type of
It's not
situation
murder,
as
it's-
Charlie Manson?
It's no, it's
No.
not. No, two different. Charlie's crazy in his own right.
No, but I'm saying
But-
they both didn't actually physically kill people.
No. Time out a second. You have
Man's
genocide.
Bro ordered genocide, bro.
I know, but I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Like they
On
built
it's a
smaller-
stretch.
on a smaller
Not
scale,
even bro,
on a
that-
smaller
that-
scale, you
that-
might be right.
in principle.
He,
I never killed anyone myself. I told people,
But
to do
because
it.
of the genocide,
But you're
thing,
talking
yeah.
about 6 million people, 10 million people. 6 million happen to be Jews. The other 10 were Romani, gays,
Catholics,
anyone who was disabled. All
yeah.
that.
to be honest with you, I mean, if you want to compare the two, I get what you're saying.
right. Do you see
And I
the
do,
correlation?
I understand,
but
but it's
Hitler never physically. Now look, Charlie Manson tied up Rosemary and Lino LaBianca. He didn't murder him, but he tied him up. You're an accessory to a murder. Your
Yeah.
hands were on that. You know, you can also say, well, you know, Hitler never did that. He
I mean,
just
he
gave the
signed
orders.
The orders. You know,
Okay,
stuff like
he
that.
gave the orders. It was his vision
True.
of cleansing Europe of
Yeah.
Jewish people. And you know what? To me, he was never going to make trial.
He was-
Because he
yeah.
wanted to kill. They knew he was going to take himself out, or if a soldier would have got to him, you know, the soldier would have put two in his head.
Just, I
Because,
mean,
you know.
look
Well,
what
let's-
happened if Operation Valkyrie would have succeeded.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
I love
okay,
that
so
movie.
Let's
Disappointing ending though.
let's
They
'cause-
wanted to be accurate, Dad. They weren't going to do what Tarantino did and rewrite history and kill Hitler in the movie theater.
Yeah. So let's move it on. I want to jump to a situation real quick, and then we'll get to Operation Northwoods. Would you classify Pearl Harbor a false flag event?
No.
Depends. And
I wouldn't say it was a false flag event, but I would say that they had a very astute-
Knowing
a-
knowledge?
a very knowing knowledge that they were going to do something.
Okay.
That they were going to do something.
when Roosevelt has the
he pretty
premier
much
of
he pretty
China,
much starved. He pretty much starved them type shit.
Right,
To
see,
just
that's-
push them to that level.
It's a tightrope to walk on,
well,
right?
It's,
Wanna know what it
it's
is?
a backdoor one, and I'll tell you why.
I agree with. I'll
'Cause
agree with that.
Eric just hit it. Wes
Yeah,
just
we
hit,
like the back doors here.
okay. Well, speak for yourself. Wes just hit the nail on the head. What
That's major news.
This just in. Dad doesn't
what
like anal.
Russia and what the United States and what China was doing to Japan was starving them so severely they couldn't keep themselves warm. They had no coal.
Yeah, they were
had no
taking the
oil.
coal and the oil
They were
away.
were pushing them in a situation where they have to do something.
Not only that, but Japan at the time was in control of all those islands because we know about that, and they were also fighting China at the same
I
time
think.
too.
I think
And we didn't get involved. We let them bury themselves, and we let China and Russia do our bidding for us. And it made it look like, and here's where the false flag part comes in. We could have never walked into that war. You could have justified, well, you know, we have to stop Hitler. People are not going to sacrifice
Well, especially
our men.
that's true.
So to
Yeah.
get involved
For a
in the
war,
war,
half a war.
Especially-
we need something to happen.
yeah, and
Especially
if you take the time period in which where
You
I
just
think at
got
that
out of
point-
you just got out of a major World War II, so it's
20
like,
years
well,
prior.
it's-
right.
No,
Well,
but no,
yes, and
what's more
also-
pressing to get into the war was we just had 1929. Well, 1929, right? Was black.
to 39, yeah.
No,
29.
29 was the black when the stock market crashed. I think it was 29, wasn't
27.
it? 27. So you
But I thought that was a 10-year
less
period,
than a
though,
decade,
wasn't it?
huh?
There wasn't the starting of us getting back into World War II, if I'm remembering
World
correctly.
War II.
Us
we got
getting back
involved-
into World War II got us out of the stock market crash,
Right,
didn't
the
it?
exact
certainly
dates
helped.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It-
Because wasn't that supposed to
Well,
be 29 to 39?
We
That
got
was a
into it in
10-year period.
1941, so the crash was 27. So you're
Any-
talking about 14 years of Americans living like
Hell,
a
yeah.
shit life because they couldn't afford anything.
Yeah.
And then we see this happening, and you're like, you know what? If we could just get into that,
Right. And-
But at
and
the same
that's why
time-
you're right in the sense that we allowed our economy boom because, again, see, very
the
simple.
war effort.
It's a very small scene, but in JFK, when Mr. X is talking to, what's his name?
I that scene
What
is
he-
imprinted in my head.
What he says is so true. Okay, nations are built for war. Everybody prospers when there's a war because we're in an
Mhm.
economic boom. We're building equipment. Bell Helicopter made billions of dollars. Okay, who do you think is lobbying Congress to go to these wars?
That's what I said before
All
at
right.
the top of the episode.
This is very, very easy to figure out. And going back to Japan, when Japan was plotting to come over here, we had the premiere in the White House that week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and again, hysteria.
Gifts.
Hysteria, we were locking up Japanese Americans who had nothing to do with this.
Yes, we were.
Putting them in our own internment camps. I mean,
And
come on.
let's
We
also
didn't exterminate them, but
and let's
we
and let's
stripped away their fucking rights.
let's also not forget that this is true. Also, the what is the Japanese house that's in the United States, the Washington. What is that called?
the house?
Consulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were starting to burn shit and tear shit up.
Yeah, they were getting rid of all their files.
Yep.
Yep.
They were like, and if you watch, like, I know Pearl Harbor is like the worst try to get for like historical accuracy.
Yeah.
But even in Pearl Harbor, they're sitting there saying,
They make a note of it.
yeah, they're why is Japan destroying shit on their thing? So
You know what it sounds like? I equate it like this. I don't classify Pearl Harbor as so much a false flag, but it definitely reminds me of what we were doing to Japan. Reminds me of a great Bill Hicks bit when he's like, he threw the gun at the guy's feet. He's like, pick up the gun. The guy's like, I don't want to. He's like, pick up the gun. And then the guy picks up the gun
Shoots 'em.
and he shoots him. He's like, you all saw it. He had a gun.
yeah,
Doesn't make you're not in the right. It's
Yeah.
just that's what we did to Japan.
I'm not. I can't, by all good conscience, say that this wasn't a false flag. My opinion is it was, and the reason was because we needed a reason to get into World War II. If this doesn't happen, we are not getting involved in World War II. We had to get involved in the Pacific theater and then say, you know what, now we have to send boys over here because our country was not equipped at the time. And the people coming out of World War I with the economic disaster of 1927, we were not about to sacrifice our own boys to go over the war to fight
Well,
a
the
war on
American
European
people weren't.
continent. Right, and that's who you
Yeah.
got to appease.
yeah, the American
you're a
people was.
politician.
you need to
The
get
politicians
people
would have
upset.
turned around and be like, yeah, send them over.
No,
Oh,
you need to get
wow.
people
Yes, Dad,
upset
yes,
who wanted
Anthony.
to. No, I'm saying, I'm like, you needed to have the common man upset.
Oh yeah,
You needed to, and it did two things. It got us in the war, which helped us boom our economy, and it gave us a sense of unity
so
amongst each
so
other.
so my question for you, Anthony, is then if you don't
No,
consider
that's- yeah.
hold on, if you don't consider Pearl Harbor a false flag event, do you consider 9/11 a false flag event?
like I said, to you
Because
before,
they're one and the same.
I agree with what you're saying, but like, again, it needs to come out where we have proof that this was set up by someone specifically for a purpose that is completely against what we've been told the true narrative is.
All right, the difference between the two, how I see it, if you're looking that way,
We're still good. We're still good.
with 9/11, you can't put your fingerprints, on any specific person
Yeah,
to
you
say
can't
they gave
finger
the
anyone.
orders.
Yeah,
Okay,
stop it.
what and make it even worse and have more plausible deniability because that's all when you get to a false flag, it's plausible deniability. You got to be able to say, wasn't me, but look what they did.
Yes.
Okay, what happened with
Well
that
said.
was we buried Japan. We helped Russia, China, everybody bury Japan. And I'm going to give you there's a movie out there called The Fog of War. It's a documentary.
I've seen it.
Okay, with what's his name? Strange. I can't. He was he was Kennedy's defense secretary. McNamara. He literally tells you in there that they were firebombing Japan for weeks, for months, because Japan was made out of nothing but wood. There was no steel structures in Japan. It was very easy to burn a village down when they're all made of fucking straw.
You're talking about villages and shit. I mean, they had cities, they had factories, but
right,
like,
but
they were attacking the little places.
But they were taking the infrastructure
Farmland,
and burning it and hurting and killing.
Yeah, like you attack the farmland, that way there's no one making food. You attack the crops, you attack the people with the cows and shit. That way the infrastructure is, kicking
That's
the balls.
That's a great movie if you ever get a chance to see the movie.
So we're going to take a short little break, and then we're going to end the episode
Northwoods.
with Operation Northwoods.
Yep.
That's how we're going to end this and our take on false flag events. But again, this is going to be a little short from our sponsors. Be right back. Hey everybody, I'm JC3.
And I'm Mr. West.
And this episode is brought to you by Dubby. Made by professionals in the USA, Dubby was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash.
No jitters.
Their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, including the patented neurofactor. You know what Dubby doesn't give you?
What's that?
No calories,
No calories.
no sugars,
No sugar.
no fillers,
No fillers.
and no artificial flavors. When the raw ingredients arrive to their FDA-registered and inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP guidelines, they undergo a quarantine while a small sample of each ingredient is taken to test for any impurities, while also being tested to ensure that the ingredients are actually what they are supposed to be and have the proper dosage.
And once the ingredients pass all the tests, then they're cleared to get mixed into the formula. So head on over to dubby.gg and use our offer code IsThisRealPC for 10% off your first order. That's DUBBY.GG and use the code IsThisRealPC for 10% off. They have great flavors such as Galaxy Grenade, Dub Sludge, Pass and Joy Tea, Monkey Madness, and Dragonade. My personal favorites.
Dragonade's right here. I got Dragonade right here. Delicious.
Drink Dubby.
And be better.
These products are not intended to diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you liked this video today, please click the like and subscribe button and make sure to hit the notification icon to keep up with all our videos.
Who wants better sex? And who wants better sex starting now? The best way to get started is go to adamandeve.com.
Adam and Eve is offering 50% off just any item.
But that's not all. When you select your one item, you will also get 3 bonus items. That includes a gift for him, a special gift for her, and a gift you'll both like.
Plus 6 free movies for your viewing pleasure and free shipping.
There is discreet shipping as your privacy is priority. Plus 100% free shipping on your entire order.
Doesn't matter how much you spend or what you buy, it will all be packaged and sent discreetly for free.
Don't wait. Better sex is just one click away.
That's 50% off one item, 3 free gifts, 6 free movies, and free shipping.
Bring more pleasure and satisfaction to your bedroom.
Just go to adamandeve.com and select any one item. It could be an adventurous new toy or anything you desire.
Just enter code QUESTION at checkout.
That's question, QUESTION at adamandeve.com.
This exclusive offer is specific to this podcast only. So be sure at checkout you punch in the code QUESTION. That is QUESTION at checkout. And get your 50% off one item, 10 free gifts, and free shipping. Remember, use code QUESTION. Also remember to listen to Is This Real every Sunday at 8 o'clock with new episodes starting July 16th. Remember, everybody, question everything and put that question at the end of your checkout.
adamandeve.com.
Welcome back. And from all the sponsors you heard tonight, we forgot to mention one that has been our sponsor since a couple seasons ago now. Go to w.gg, punch in the code Is This Real, and get all your W products for 10% off. Please go get your W products. They have new, I believe it's still out there, new flavors that have dropped over the past 2 or 3 weeks. I don't even know what those flavors are. Wes, you gotta give us those flavors real quick.
Well, I got it right here. So the new flavors are Calio Cream, and that's a good one. Dragonade, which is my go-to. We have Dub Sludge. You know, these are some good flavors, people. And W wakes you the fuck up. And they have a very, very patented formula.
And I love their slogan: "Drink it, W, be better."
That's right. They have a 12 start. They have a sampler starter pack. If you just want to try it, it's $13
Yep.
for 4 packs of 4 different flavors of Dubby. You got Big Energy Tears, Calio Cream, Push and Punch, Beach and Peach. You have a lot. Galaxy Grenade's another good one.
Yes. Please go to
Check
w.gg,
out
punch in the
WG.
We
code.
still have room for more sponsors.
Go to w.gg, punch in the code is this real PC, all one word, to
They
get
got a
your
3-tub
10%
bundle
off.
right now. Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, $95, and that is $25 off of their regular price. That's a good goddamn deal.
Yes.
They go for $40 a tub.
Yeah, I think they do.
And if you want the 5-tub bundle, instead of paying $200, you pay $149.99. That's their sale, and then you use
Our 10%
our
off.
10%
Yeah.
off, saves you even more money.
All right. So, Operation Northwoods, gentlemen. I know, Dad, you were actually alive for
Oh,
this event.
You're right.
You were actually
We
alive.
totally. I know we're going into Northwoods, but there's also another granddaddy that we didn't talk about, and that is the Gulf of Tonkin incident.
Oh, yes, the Gulf of Tonkin.
Got us into Vietnam. Clearly a disaster by the great, and I mean that facetiously, Lyndon Baines Criminal Johnson.
Was that before or after the Northwoods incident?
No, that was actually after.
That was after
Yeah,
because
after. Yeah.
Northwood
Okay.
Kennedy put the kibosh to Northwood.
Right. So the next one we're going to
Northwoods
go
was
to is
60.
So Northwoods
something
would
was
have
it?
been Northwoods wouldn't have gotten us into Vietnam, would it?
no,
No,
Northwoods
would've
would have got
gotten
us
us
into
Cuba.
World War III. And the reason I say that is because here's a guy, General Lemnitzer, back in the day, decided that he wanted to propose taking one of our boats and put it into one of the straits down in Cuba. We were going to paint our planes and make them look like Cuban planes. We were going to have our radio indoctrinate our people over here, saying the Cuban planes just bombed a U.S. carrier.
Well, what I have here, Des, they're saying that the possibilities derailed in the document include the remote control civilian aircraft, which would have secretly repainted a U.S. Air Force plane, a fabricated shoot-down of a U.S. Air Force fighter aircraft
Okay.
off the coast of Cuba,
Mhm.
the possible assassination of Cuban immigrants, sinking boats of Cuban refugees in the high seas, and blowing up a U.S. ship, and orchestrating terrorism in U.S. cities. The proposals were rejected by JFK.
Yeah, he told him, no, we're not doing that because
He said, "Go
he
fuck
knew.
yourself."
Well, again, look.
Basically.
You're looking at a situation. Look what happened during 1961 with the in the Bay of Pigs. What happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis? If that would have went just a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, we wouldn't be having this podcast. And if it was, we'd be speaking Russian.
Like we talked about in the one episode, if it wasn't for the one guy in the Soviet submarine disobeying orders, they called for it, fired the missiles, and he went, "I don't think
Well-
so. Let's not do that."
Well, what they have also on here, Dad, is relative
What was that, Cold War?
operation. Relative operations is Operation Mongoose.
Operation Mongoose, yeah.
And we
That's
all know
when
what
we were gonna-
Operation Mongoose
That's
is,
we
right?
were going to send Cuban refugees
hmm
into Cuba to invade Cuba.
And who are they trained by, Dad?
They were trained by the CIA and the FBI, and they were trained by some other Cuban nationals. And that you want to talk about a false flag?
Well, yes, but who? There's one major person that was in there, at least if you go by the movie, and I believe it's actually true. The guy with the hairdo and the eyebrows.
Oh, you're talking about Ferry.
Yeah.
Oh, no, David Ferry was involved with it, but he was low level. He tried to make himself be more important. Don't forget, David Ferry was he was somebody that would go between Dallas, New Orleans, Miami.
For what's
And-
his face, right?
Because he was being paid to get these people to recruit Cuban nationals to go down to in Florida and then go down to Lake Pontchartrain and run the CIA run camps The CIA was rogue at that time, which basically they still are. And if you get involved with the CIA, they've been rogue since they were created back in the 40s. You know, I mean, these guys they turn on everybody. And Kennedy was the one president they didn't count on, but it cost him his life.
Here's a good one.
Whatever you want.
The CIA, this is a confirmed false flag. The CIA admits that it hired Iranians back in the 1950s to pose as communists and stage bombings in Iran in order to turn the country against its democratic elected prime minister.
So they put the Shah of Iran in.
So that's one thing that you're going to talk about.
Dying.
False flags. The CIA is involved in a lot of them.
The CIA is and I don't care who hears that. I don't give a shit.
I do.
It's a criminal fucking organization.
Well, I mean, let's not forget why JFK is dead, because one of the reasons why he's dead because he wanted to kibosh the CIA and the FBI.
Oh, the CIA so much. The FBI, unfortunately, was run by a cross-dressing criminal, and he was the guy who had. If anybody has a problem with that, I'm sorry, it was the truth.
No,
I mean,
cross-dressing.
It's the truth. It's
He was-
No, cross-dressing is not a
Okay.
name thing. It's an actual thing. You can't
The bottom line is he was a very bad person who had a lot of files on everybody, and he used those files to blackmail people. He was blackmailing Bobby Kennedy. He was blackmailing Jack Kennedy because he had all the information, who they were, going to bed with and whatever. And it was at the point that, you know what, he everybody knew. And the first phone call to Bobby Kennedy after Jack was assassinated was from what's his face, the head of the FBI. I can't think.
Eisenhower?
Hoover to Bobby, basically gloating that his brother was just shot. Okay. This guy was bad news. But again, you know what? I give you a laundry list of people in the government back then that were bad.
Well,
It was the first time a government entity had that kind of power, information,
let's
resources.
put it like this: the provocations of Operation Northwoods is this. They go, in response to a request for pretext for military intervention by the chief of operations of the Cuba Project, General Edward Lansdell, the document listed methods including false flag provocations and outlined plans that the authors believed would garner public and international support for U.S. military intervention in Cuba. According to the documents, the plan called for several steps to be taken in an attempt to provoke Cuba into an action against the United States, then blame its hostiles carried out by the U.S. against its military base at Guantanamo. These would be followed by executing offensive operations there against tactical Cuban civilian targets and military emplacements, leading to a large-scale U.S. military operations. 1. Since it would seem desirable to use legitimate provocations at the basis for the U.S. military intervention in Cuba, a cover and deception plan to include requisite preliminary actions such as had been developed in response to Task 33C could be executed as an initial effort to provoke Cuban reactions. Harassment plus deceptive actions to convince the Cubans of imminent invasion would be emphasized. Our military posture throughout execution of the plan will allow a rapid change from exercise to intervention if Cuban response justifies. What the hell does that mean?
That means that we're going to go to war. That's what that means. I'll put it as simple as that. Because Russia was the one who put
The missiles.
the Cuban premier in, okay? Castro, they put him in there. They were the ones that were controlling that government. And if we decided to bomb that government, we're going to war. Now,
By
what
proxy,
would we
bomb
do?
the government. Russia steps in.
Right.
Yeah.
What would we do if, say, one of our satellites, I'm going to take the Virgin Islands. If Russia came down here and blew up the Virgin Islands, well, that's the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Well, yeah. Okay, so
Come
it goes, number 2 is a series
Or
of...
better yet, what would they do if they hit Puerto Rico? What would we do?
Number 2, a series of well-coordinated incidents will be planned to take place in and around Guantanamo to give genuine appearance of being done by hostile Cuban forces.
Right.
Number 3, the United States would respond by executing offensive operations to secure water and power supplies, destroying artillery and mortar emplacements which threaten the base. And number 4, commerce, large-scale United States military operations.
Which means that we move in, we get shelter and water, and then we capture the bases in Cuba, and then we send our boys down there to vacate that, and we basically take over the Cuban
Cuba.
bases,
Yeah.
and then move into the cities and take over the cities.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would have been a bloodbath. What would we do if Russia decided, you know what, Alaska's really close to us and they're not connected to the mainland, at least not to the United States mainland? Well, maybe we should just bomb them and take them over. Would we respond? Would you think the
Well,
United? Well,
yeah,
maybe not with this
obviously.
moron in president now, but you get a hawk in there or
I don't
anybody
know about that.
you
I
know,
mean,
come on.
I don't know about that. I just look, China had spy balloons, and we were in fuck. He was like, you know what? I don't know what that is. Let's fucking execute
We're
it
gonna
immediately.
save that for the Biden episode.
Oh, no.
because
Hold on. He didn't say immediately. He
No, I
took him
know
a whole
that.
week and a half
I understand.
as it glanced across the United States.
Well, one did, and then the second one he shot down immediately.
Well, no.
No,
Whoa.
Not immediately. He shot it down when it got off.
Well, hold on.
Well off
This-
the East Coast.
Hold on.
Talking about the one up in Canada.
That was not a
That
spy
was-
balloon.
That wasn't a spy balloon, and that was taken down
In
by the
fact-
help of the Canadian military.
Yeah, in fact, there's only
Yeah, but Biden said, "I gave you the blessing. Take
hold
it
on,
out."
there's only been one confirmed.
Thanks for letting me do a balloon over
Hold
my
on,
territory.
there's only been one confirmed spy balloon.
It depends on who you listen to.
Well, that's true because we haven't recovered the Canadian one, which I think is bullshit.
Well, it
No.
depends on who you listen to.
And
Joe,
that's the
I'm-
first one we shot down. The other
I'm
ones.
not gonna go there with this because it could really.
Well,
I mean-
but the other ones were confirmed that China didn't know, and the United States don't know where
I believe
these
what
come
China
from.
says.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all.
all right. So, as far as Operation Northwoods, could this been another feather in the hat? I hate using that phrase to get JFK popped.
It
Oh,
definitely
absolutely.
didn't help. I'll tell you that already. It didn't help. And the reason why I say that is because he was literally going to destroy the, I think it was like,
He was against
document
secret
227.
societies.
Yeah, he was going to blow them the fuck up, whether they wanted it or not. And he was going to say, enough of it. The CIA, you're done. And then think about what you want. You know, I mean, the Dulles brothers.
And my whole thing with this is when you think about
the mayor of Dallas got the motorcade change, who was also
it's
fired by Kennedy.
Yeah.
So
let's go into the whole aspect of how basically Kennedy was taken out, and this is probably one of the reasons why, because he wanted to take out the CIA.
No doubt in my mind.
He wanted to do all that,
No
and
doubt in my mind.
he's probably one of the presidents who sit there and be like, if he would have survived and nobody took him out, there would have been we don't know where we would be today. I don't know if in a good or bad way.
Kennedy would have never allowed that to happen. Problem with Kennedy was he was surrounded, and he was warned by Eisenhower, beware of the military-industrial complex, in Eisenhower's final speech to the nation, which is the beginning of the JFK movie. That was the actual speech. Beware of the military-industrial complex, which means all of these people that are involved in government want a war. They want to build up the war. They want to sell aircraft. They want to make money.
Well, it's another reason why Robert Kennedy was the only person he basically trusted in the White House at the time in the last couple of months before he was shot.
Well, he was the Attorney General, and again, the Kennedy boys pissed a lot of people off. They were Jack was putting everybody with the help of the mafia, and then he's got his brother to go after the mafia. It's, come on.
Doesn't work that way.
I'm not going to sit here and say they were using brain cells here, because that to me was the stupidest thing you could have done.
Oh, it's like a backhand thing. It's
It
like, we got
is.
you in, now you're taking us out.
Exactly. So, these people are pissed. They don't want to give up their power either.
Yeah.
You get them involved with Jack Ruby as a liaison between, you bring in Jack Ruby, you bring in David Ferry, hook it up with Operation Mongoose. It's all together. It's right there for you to see if you just want to look.
Yeah. Okay.
Most
So
Americans don't look.
So just to really shortly end up this episode, because there's a lot of that's not the one I wanted. There's
Big Joe's hungry.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to go into this episode. Like, obviously, there's a lot more confirmed, quote unquote, false flag events.
I would like to do a part 2 of this at some point.
It's really you're sitting here thinking like, okay, what can be construed as a false flag event. Like this one website right here says, have you heard the story of Paul Pelosi being attacked was fake, a false flag operation? And the January 6th attacks of the Capitol. Give me a break. That was another false flag operation orchestrated by the FBI and those radical lefties from Antifa. And then they go on to say, the false shooting in Newtown and Parkland. Like, these are things that people are saying are false flag events that are not confirmed false flag events.
I think it's a case of we have so many instances in history to cite from, and you have these events that happen that everyone now, especially in the age of the internet, can get online and say, this is what I think really happened. And it's very easy to call something a false flag if you think that everything is a distraction for something else. You know what I mean? Like, this happened.
But my question,
we don't know that they did because what are they doing over here?
But my question for you is if you have legitimate questions about an event, and then you start adding up a timeline, and the timeline doesn't make any sense, or certain aspects of the story do not make any sense.
That's you're right, but you're assuming that you're getting the correct timeline.
That's also true.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is when you sit there and if you turn around, that's completely true. But if you turn around and say, okay, here is the issued story, this is what happened, and everyone knows this is a story that we're supposed to believe. But then you start going through that, and you're like, well, this doesn't add up.
Well, see, that's why, and I preach to you guys this all the time, and then maybe some of our listeners will remember me saying this. I don't believe anything I hear. Like, if there's a story coming out, I will go to Fox, I will go to CNN, I will go to MSNBC, I'll listen to NPR, but I'm still not going to believe anything they tell me, because they all come at it with their own agenda and their own timeline. You could take a story of a building being blown up, and go to 3 different news outlets, and it's 3 different people's fault. It happened 3 different ways. So you know what? What you do is you take the time and you do your own homework and your own research, and you look for, like, a bill is passed, and somebody says, well, this bill, is this what the Democrats don't want to sign, or the Republicans don't want to sign it? You look at the bill and you find out why. Well, maybe the Republicans don't want to sign this bill because, it would be good for the country, but in here online, blah blah blah, it said that we need to take $1 billion of that money and
Allocate it somewhere.
Allocate it for, like, a pork, they call it. Allocate it for, like, I don't know, planting seeds in the desert or something stupid. And both of them do it.
They do. You're 100% right.
But it's also there to blame the other side.
Yes.
Why they didn't sign it. So you got to know what you're up against.
My whole thing with
this
this
the
also,
government, it's criminal.
My whole thing with determining if something's a false flag event or not, you can't just sit there in the moment, like a week after, and be like, well, that story doesn't add up or anything like that. It takes time. You have to look at the timeline of events after that particular thing happened.
That's why I say you're not. Got all the earmarks.
What has fallen down? Like, what is the domino effect of this?
What was gained?
Yeah, of this event that happened.
Follow the money and see what happens.
And that's where you could sit there and have questions. Now, granted, are there questions to every situation that happens? Of course. Every situation that happens, there are always going to be questions. All right? That's one thing that as I hope as just human beings, people have questions of things. And for people to turn around and start
think they would,
getting snarky or calling someone like un-American or something for questioning certain actions, to me is not a good thing. Now, if you're going to sit there and blatantly say it's a lie, there's a difference. You have to have, your story. And
right, but there are people that without a doubt, there are people who just believe everything the government, what they're told. And to question the government is...
un-American.
Some people think it's un-American, then you have people who are more extreme, who are like, that's treason to question the government.
And then you have the opposite offense, and that's very American to question the government.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So,
it's one of those things where it's I know it's from a comic book, but V for Vendetta, one of my favorite quotes is, the people shouldn't be afraid of the government should be afraid of the people.
Yeah.
And I think it's right there in the first line, we the people. That's the people. That's who should be running shit. And we do elect these people into where they got to go. But then you have this entire aspect of the government that is only dealing with half-truths or no truths and
or
lies
smoky truths
and shady shit that we the people don't know about. And we think it's for our protection. And it fucking isn't.
What did Carlin say? We have owners.
We have owners.
We have
It's
owners.
called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
All right. So we're gonna end off
What
this
a great
episode.
fucking line
Mission
that is.
George.
What a great fucking line that is.
We're gonna end this episode, and next week. Well, not next week, but our next episode, our second debate episode of the season. You ready for this? You ready for this, Wes? This one's gonna get spicy.
Oh yeah.
You thought our first debate episode was a little spicy. This one's gonna be extremely spicy. Our next episode, ladies and gentlemen, is there a witch hunt for Donald J. Trump? This one's gonna take off like a motherfucker. But let's end this episode right here. Okay, so final thoughts, Dad. Final thoughts on false flag events.
False flags. Again, I know we question a lot of conspiracy stuff. This isn't conspiracy. This is a fact. This happens. It's admitted. It happens. Wars have been started because of false flag events. People have died because of false flag events.
People are dead. Families are ruined. Time to keep moving.
I mean,
You're a dick.
well, that's just my opinion. This is not normally what we do here. It's not a conspiracy. Could it be? Is it possible? It's there for you to see.
Well, I mean, we did touch on conspiracy ideas of false flag
Yeah.
events, especially in recent times.
When it's brand new, we don't know it's a false flag. It's a
Exactly.
conspiracy, and it's only until it's many years have gone by where
We-
oh no,
it's
that was a false
confirmed,
flag,
yes.
and then you get the tinfoil hacks going, motherfucker, I knew it.
Hey, I have
told you.
I have a tinfoil hat. Don't fucking start playing with me. Pope.
Yeah, I mean, like I think Dad hit it on the head. This is not conspiracy. This is something that is 100% accurate, and it's one of those things that only time reveals whether something was a false flag or not, and it's scary. But I'm. It's one of those things I hope we don't have to have this discussion in the near future about an event that's tomorrow or a couple weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I hope you're right.
I want there to be less false flags.
Well, true. I mean, I do. Well, no, I don't. But
Oh,
Wes,
do you want to be more?
not that I want there to be more, but I
Blood, chaos keeps the podcast.
no.
numbers
Like
up.
I don't want there to be false flag events, but I do have questions about recent events that are recent. Nothing in the future,
I got you. I
but
got you.
the questions that I have about things that have happened over the last 10 to 15 years.
Well, sure.
Well, I think we should commit to a second episode, or at least do something for you, a little roundtable discussion and put it on YouTube. I think we should do that.
That's fine.
Because there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get to, like all
But
the
it's also,
Tonka-
but I'll be
Tonka-
honest. It's if you're talking about just confirmed false flags, yeah, we can do that. But the things that I'm talking about, we've discussed
What we
already.
think are false flags.
We've discussed in episodes in seasons before.
Well,
Because that has covered. We've covered things like Boston bombing. We covered this season. Sandy Hook. We covered 2 seasons ago. Like these are things that we think are, or the Las Vegas shooting. We think are false flag events, but
Correct me if I'm wrong.
we
United
could do a live or
States.
something. Who knows?
United States. They didn't dress themselves up as anything with the Boston Tea Party, right? No one was dressed up. It was just like
Oh,
no.
gee, I was kind of young then.
It was just like no. Throw the tea in the harbor. Fuck these people. It wasn't like
no, it wasn't a
we're-
false flag.
Yeah, we
thing.
didn't dress up as something to go in there and say, look, they did it to us.
No, I don't.
No,
want
were
this
you
tea.
there?
I'm throwing it in the water.
Or
The Boston Tea Party?
no.
No, that was before your time or after your time.
I
No,
thought
I
it
was
was like
sleeping.
I was
You
like,
were
just go
sleeping.
down to CVS and get a couple more things of Brisk or Lipton. Like, who the
Who
fuck? Like, millions of dollars. That's before I realized.
Stop it!
cheese
No,
is
stop!
like bricks.
Because I don't need Lin-Manuel to sit there and subpoena our podcast because we're singing his lyrics. All right?
You know, I want an autograph, Mister. Oh, it's gonna be on the fucking affidavit.
Yeah. Mr. West, your final thoughts on this episode?
It was good.
Thank you, Mr. West.
The false flags?
The episode.
Oh,
Okay. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, they were creative, inventive. I love the false flags. It was good.
it's false flags. I don't know why they call them after flags. Whatever. But at least for me, I think I'm gonna repeat what both of you said. This isn't a conspiracy
So much
theory.
cream-filled.
Shut up, Anthony. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is truth. And these things happen. And one of these things you have to sit there and you have to realize that these things actually have happened. So my question to everybody then and I'll let you guys answer to, after on.
Goody, another question.
No, I'll let you answer on the TikTok page. How about that? If you think, and this is to everybody listening, and I want answers on this one, comment. If these are confirmed false flag events, and some of them are in our U.S. history with our U.S. government, why not think it can happen? It can't happen again. You know what I'm saying?
It hasn't stopped. It hasn't.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's gonna happen again.
But that's what I'm saying. When we sit here and think about like things that sit there, oh no, our government wouldn't do that. Our government has.
Oh yeah, like I think your question is more. I think your question should be this: if you're out there and you think the government would never do that, fucking, why would you think that way?
Yeah, don't leave your
I don't
house
agree
at
with
that
a lot of
point.
things. I don't agree with a lot of the policies of Ronald Reagan. Different episode. Shut up.
Yeah, please don't talk
But
about
one of
Ronnie.
the
Saying
things-
the word.
But one of the things that Reagan said
What
that
you say about Dutch?
one of the things that Reagan said that I absolutely agree with is like the 9 scariest words is I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Like, fuck you.
No, my favorite one is when something banged the on and he goes, "You missed."
You missed me.
Yeah, funny man.
Funny man.
Yeah.
I'll stop there.
Yeah. Okay. So, if we're gonna sit here and answer your questions, go to our social media so you can see. Go to Is This Real PC on TikTok. Go to Is This Real Podcast on Instagram. Is This Real Podcast on Facebook. Go follow our link tree. We go live almost every Sunday, well, almost every night now.
On one of our social medias.
Yeah, on one of our social medias.
And don't forget YouTube and our website, greenarrowmedia.org.
And please go to greenarrowmedia.org/shop or store and go get your t-shirts. I'm wearing a t-shirt tonight. This is our season 10 FBI logo. Look at that.
That's pretty.
This is one of our original pieces right here. Literally one of our original shirts. Dad, you have a season 10 shirt on right now.
Yes, I do.
Go buy we have a lot of different shirt designs.
Giant space ween, cryptids.
Some are not conspiracy related, but just
Yeah,
go
we're
with
just
it.
not hawking stuff. We're just, we want to support the podcast. I mean,
Yes,
Yeah.
like that's what it
it
comes
takes a
down
lot
to.
of money to do this. And,
Please support us so we can keep bringing you great content.
Yeah, please go to greenarrowmedia.org, and when you go to greenarrowmedia.org, you sit there and you see our entire list for season 10, and you have all the little what are they called? Tabs
Tabs to click on.
to click on that bring you to our YouTube page, that bring you to our storefront.
Yeah, we're like the ghetto version of PBS. We're brought by viewers like you.
Yes. But again, everybody say goodbye.
Adios, motherfuckers.
We'll
See
see
ya
you guys
to me.
next week.
Peace.
And we'll catch you guys next week for the Donald Trump episode. Remember, everybody, question everything. Good night.
Konnichiwa, bitches. It's Ryu West speaking. If you want to find out more about the Is This Real podcast, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/isthisrealpc, or on Twitter at isthisrealpc, or on Instagram at isthisrealpodcast, all one word.